Anyway, it is time for Movies and Booze. Esther McCarthy and Tomás Clancy join us once again. Good afternoon to you both.
Good afternoon.
Hello, how are you?
It's wonderful to have you here. Now, buttery Chardonnay. Do I smell buttery Chardonnay in the air?
This is brioche, buttery dripping Chardonnay. The way we love it.
The Caroline Clark in her continuing quest to find white wines that she hates is well, okay. I'm just telling you though. I'm just telling you because she likes Cab so technically.
Right, but she can be persuaded that
she's on her way.
Yeah,
a glass.
Give it a go.
Yeah, is that a white Burgundy or am I confused?
No, you're absolutely right. This is a Burgundy. You're absolutely spot on. This is Couvent de Jacobins from Louis Jadot, and it's a Burgundy. It's Chardonnay that comes from the Côte d'Or. In fact, the southern part of it, the Côte Chardonnay, but it's from the tenderloin of Burgundy, and it's where we don't think or talk of it as being a Chardonnay at all. We talk about the Chardonnay is planted in the ground, and whatever the ground is planted in, that's what comes out. So it's a Pouligny, a little village, or it's a Meursault, a little village called Meursault. So you're not drinking Chardonnay, you're drinking the soil.
Oh,
beautiful, but beautiful Burgundian soil. The kind of soil that Charolais cattle live on, because that's where the Charolais come from this very place. And that buttery, beautiful, sort of suede sort of look of a lovely Charolais cow, that is, you find that in your glass as well. I think we need to do a Charolais and Chardonnay Burgundy, sort of taste test. I think that's what
I think
need.
We should go there and have that.
Our first wine today,
right,
is not Mouton Rothschild, so considerably cheaper. In fact, it's a wine that has won what's called the NOFLA, which is the National Off-Licence Association, and it's Association of Independent Off-Licenses.
That's dire straits for giving away prizes for wine.
The NOFLA prize, brother in arms with this Chardonnay. This is the National Off-Licence Association of Ireland, NOFLA, and they have a large competition where they get people to nominate by bringing wines, and they get their members tasting it. It's one of the most extensive and well-run competitions, in fact, for wine, I think, in Europe. It outpaces a lot of others in terms of its meticulousness. But anyway, at the top of it all, they have categories like best wine under 15, best wine under 20, and what we have here is the best wine, white wine in the country under 20, according to them. And it's Louis Jadot, and Louis Jadot is a negociant from Burgundy. Negociants are people who, they own a lot of vineyards themselves, but then they buy from everyone else. In every other part of France, what happened was you had somebody who owned a chateau and they used their own grapes to make their own wine, and then there were cooperatives, would be the rivals to them, where lots of small farmers would get together, just as we do here with milk cooperatives and dairy cooperatives, and they would have wine cooperatives. But in Burgundy, they evolved this other form, which was a negociant, which is basically a business person who owns owns his own wine, but then goes out and buys from everyone else and then sells it under his own label. So there's some wines that are the land that they own, and some that they actually buy in. And the negociant system gives you an opportunity. They can. I'm not saying they browbeat people into good wines, but they have good connections and long contracts with people who are supplying them for a very long time, and so they're able to get very good quality wine. Whereas if you see something that's a plain Burgundy, just Burgundy white, you don't know where that might come from. It could be from all over the place. Whereas if you're looking for even something here, now this is going to be under 20s, but it's between 18 and 19 euros. It's at the 20 euro mark, but it's 20 and under is the category that won. It's a very good Chardonnay, and what they've done is they've made it in the traditional Burgundy fashion rather than trying to ape the New World, which is a lot of what's going on in the Chardonnay market at the moment. In the New World, they started off 20 years ago putting everything into barrel, and then found it blousy and expensive to do, and they never actually put it into barrel. What they did was they had
blousy mean?
Blousy means it's a terrible word. What we mean, I suppose, is that it's billowy. So it's like at the top of a parachute, where it blouson. Is what they really meant. But so it's a bit willowy, and it's not sharp, it's not focused, because the heat of the alcohol kind of makes it drift all over the place. So in fact, in Australia and other places in the New World, what they did was they bought chips. They bought old oak, chipped it up into tiny little chips in a chipper, and then put it into a bag, and then put the bag in like a tea bag into their big vats of Chardonnay. So they never actually spent the money on putting it into oak barrels. They did it this other way around, and then gave them a good squeeze. Here we've got actual oak barrels, expensive. They're 400 and 500 euros a barrel, and if you have several hundred of those in a cellar, that's a lot of money being expended. So what we have in this wine is they've split it, and they're putting a portion of it, so you can put half of it into a barrel and then half of it into a stainless steel tank. Put it into a stainless steel tank, you get the zesty, lemon-driven kind of taste that people like with some Chardonnays, and that's very popular now in Australia, and you'll see a lot of Australians saying unwooded, meaning it hasn't gone into barrel, but of course they never went into a barrel, so it's unwooded in their sense. But
Steelized.
Steelified. Yeah. And then the other half into the barrel, which gives it this creamy taste. But they then back blend the barrels with the stainless steel in a large vat, and then they bottle it. So you get a little bit of both. You get a little bit of succulence with a bit of this kind of steel-framed sort of linear quality that people seem to enjoy. I'm a butter and brioche kind of Chardonnay person myself, so I like this, but I could find, if they'd gone 99% barrel, I'd have probably preferred it a little more. But I think that this is a fantastically good compromise. I think people will be able to see that this is a Chardonnay that competes very well with the very best of Australian Chardonnays, and it just has that little creamy edge, that little softness that makes you think, Burgundy, still worthwhile. Good value.
The Caroline Clark isn't convinced.
No.
She tells me she needs pâté and cheese to make up her mind. Or she's just looking for a free dinner.
I think foie gras, chilled foie gras.
Foie gras would be lovely.
Is really what needs.
So next time. Okay, what movie would you like to do first, Esther?
Let's do The Judge, will we?